Welcome to Momentum Investing, property investing made easy. One of the world's top podcasts on property investing, bringing you the top experts in the field so you can learn firsthand what it takes to create passive income and take control over your financial future.
Hi property investors, welcome to the next episode of Momentum Investing podcast. In this episode we're gonna guest an exchange broker, a currency expert, we could say. Nick Burns is our partner. He works with our students, he also works with our money, and he makes sure that we don't lose, we actually make money when we exchange currencies between countries, when we invest. When we bring money out of the country we leave and we pull the money back from our investments. Nick has a long experience in that area. He'll explain us why do we want to work with exchange brokers, why do we want to work with currency experts. Of course, there are plenty of benefits, like we don't want to risk too much, right? And there are plenty of services online you can use when you exchange currencies on pretty good rates. However, working with a professional and expert advisor, that gives you a completely different light to your risks. So welcome to the show. I think it's going to be a really exciting episode, especially if you invest in the other country you live. For us, it's going to be, of course, UK. Nick will also explain a bit on what's going on in the UK right now, especially when we had Brexit. So I think it's going to be really exciting. So see you in the show. Thank you. Good morning, property investors. In today's episode, we have a pleasure to host a currency trader, Nick Burns, who is one of the founders of Lighthouse company, which specializes in Forex trading. Nick, can you introduce yourself?
Hello, yeah, so I run a currency brokerage, so we specialise in moving one currency to another as cheaply and as risk-free as possible, and we specialise in helping property investors working internationally.
Yeah, awesome. All right, so right now, there's obviously you're based in the UK. Brexit, like UK is facing Brexit. It faces the next lockdown. We're in the pandemic era. So there are plenty of things will be happening with the currency. Even now, we spoke early this morning. There are a lot of things happening, but I'm going to ask you for a bit of a market update. But I'm going to actually put it in the end. So stay tuned with us. Stay with us until the end of the episode because we'll have probably a very good market update. But I'll maybe start with a lightweight topic. Why would we use a currency broker at all?
Well, good question. So, I mean, obviously, there's a lot of challenges at the moment managing risk, essentially, and currency market is the currency exchange is, of course, a massive risk when or has vast implications for when one is moving money internationally to make an investment, and so. Although there's been a move towards kind of technology, these systems like TransferWise and systems like that, which are very good for making kind of smaller payments and all the rest of it. What they don't cater for is mitigating the risks of these fluctuations in order to get to that bottom line figure that a lot of these international investors want to do. And I think that's lost a lot of the time. So we can help with a number of strategies that we've got, a number of different products that we've got that are a little bit more specialist. And aside from that, of course, that whilst I always say no one can predict the currency markets, we sit in front of these screens all day, every day, and we like to think that we can add a lot of value with this is what's going on, this is what's coming up, this is what we think, and this is what could happen, and allowing our clients to make the most informed decision. Additionally, where I think a lot of value is the proactive nature of what we do. So when we see a 2% slip in the pound, we can be on the phone and say, look, have you seen today's move? This is a great opportunity for us. You know, it's 2% cheaper than it was yesterday or similar. Or again, against you, you know, if you see a 2% move against you, a call to say, look, we need to do something about this fairly soon because, you know, things are moving against us pretty quickly. that can be worth a lot of value as well. So that's the kind of thing that we do. And we like to make these slightly more technical things accessible to people. And that's where we come in.
Excellent. So what you're saying basically is that, yes, you can use Revolut and transfer money or exchange currencies in your own phone, but you will not get that advice. You will not get that proactive thinking. You will not get this the quality of service, and then you'll not have the knowledge probably, or you might not have the knowledge or experience, and you're not sitting in front of the screen all days like you guys do. So obviously, essentially, you help save people's money.
I wholeheartedly believe so, and I hope my clients would say the same. Absolutely. I think that the best way to put it is that when the currency markets move in relative value by 1% every day, the difference of 0.1% between broker to broker is largely irrelevant. So that trying to get in at the most favourable time is where the value is. I believe, and so do most of my clients, or all my clients, hopefully. So yeah, that's where I believe the most value is.
All right. So if you look at the currency exchange, obviously so much money is exchanged every day, because of the nature of times we live in, and we are property investors. We typically send money across to the UK as overseas investors, and then we invest, and we at some point we're bringing the money back. So we don't maybe do currency trading daily, but we do it over years. Now, if you look at the nature of that kind of nature of working with currencies, how would you say, what are the typical risks that people face? And how can you, as a property trader or as a currency trader, can help us mitigate those risks, and maybe even help the currency exchange work in our favor?
Yeah, well, I mean, absolutely. I mean, volatility creates risk, but it also creates opportunity. So I believe a lot of the time when we help our clients out, we're not only talking about the way in, but the way out again. So if a particularly relevant example would be if one is sourcing funds from like an angel investor, something like that, and has an agreement to repay over a prolonged period. A lot of these agreement terms are over a year or perhaps a little bit longer. And so when you think about it, if you're agreeing to pay payments back month on month and month and month, what you'll find, if you've done nothing about the currency, you'll find that one month it's particularly expensive. The next month it might be cheap. You might find that every single one of your payments is costing you 10% more than you'd bargained for, quite easily at the moment. We're seeing 5% moves over a month at the moment, every month. So where we can help is, the most obvious example is something that we call a forward contract, something that TransferWise and the likes don't offer. So that essentially is today's rate for a future date. So you can essentially, without tying up all the cash, lock in today's exchange rate for a year in advance, or actually up to 5, and then chip away at the contracts, and you know exactly what your repayments are going to cost. So you know what your rental yields are going to get you. Then you know what your repayments are costing you in actual pounds. And then you know what your profit is, and so you can secure that variable over a year or more. So that's the kind of thing that we would help structure, a repayment. And I always encourage people that are doing this to concentrate on what they're here for, and that is ultimately making money on property and not necessarily on currency speculation. So we try and take or try and guide our clients to a relatively low risk approach. And of course, people say to me, "Oh, well, if I've locked everything in at a certain level, I mean, surely that's a risk." It could. Well, I look at it the complete opposite way, in that if you haven't locked in your currency exchange rate, then you don't know what your repayments are going to cost you. So you're effectively gambling with that,
right.
With each payment, if you like. So by doing something about it, using a strategy like that, we can help mitigate remove that risk entirely.
Right. So a lot of our Momentum students actually ask this question: if we get an angel investor on board, who should take the currency risk? Should we borrow money in pounds, in sterling, or should we buy in our local currency, euro, krona, or whatever other currency? And typically the one who, like, if we borrow the money in pound sterling, then obviously the investor is taking a risk. If we do borrow money in the local currency, we take the risk of the currency. But with this kind of strategy, we can actually we can first of all make it easier for our investors to hedge our currency, our exchange, and then take the risk, but take the risk we know in advance, because we can lock the currency. So we're getting into currency hedging. Can you maybe tell a bit more about the currency hedging in general, how it works? And
so that would be a form of currency hedge. So a forward contract would be hedging your exposure to the market. So that would be the main strategy that one would suggest. I mean, the one thing I would say is that my outlook from here, and we're touching on what's going on today, but my outlook from here is that eventually there is a Brexit deal, and I would expect the pound to rally from here. Through to 2021, we expect a stronger pound. So I would perhaps, going against everything that I just said, I would perhaps lean on the side of taking on a little bit of risk on the repayment. So as far as hedging goes, if let's say one needs to repay, I don't know, let's say €500,000, let's make it easy figures. Let's say 1.2 million euros over the next year, 100,000 every month. I would maybe consider breaking that up, locking in around about half of what you need on a forward contract, and then you're only exposed to the remaining 600,000, and then chip away at that as and when. So excuse me. That's the strategy that we will be working with a lot of our clients, because a lot of our clients share the belief that through to next year we're going to see a stronger pound once all this Brexit stuff's out of the way. Right.
So currency hedging is the first one of the sort of services that currency traders offer. What are the others? I know about triggers. So can we talk about more?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we can work market orders. So a client could say to me, let's take euros for example. So we're trading around about 110 at the moment, roughly. And a client could say to me, look, I'd really like to sell pounds and buy euros back at 115, let's say, i.e. a price that's much better than where we are today. And we can put that as a market order. So that would essentially means that if the market hits our desired trigger level at any point, it will trigger and execute. Even if it's 2:00 in the morning on a Sunday night, we're all tucked up in bed. So that's a good way at the moment, particularly of getting a nice, taking advantage of the swings that we're seeing. Even though, as I always say, even if you're not watching the screen all day, every day, we can set those targets and work together. And my job is to help you make realistic goals and realistic targets. And likewise, the other side of that as well is what we call a stop loss. So one can say, look, Nick, we're trading around 110 at the moment. My repayments are budgeted around about this level. If we go down to 108, then things are getting a bit tight for me on my repayments. My profit margin's being squeezed. So we can put what we call a stop loss in that would automatically trigger if the pound plummets. It would automatically stop us out, and we know we're going to get a price no worse than 108. So that's, again, a great strategy. A load of my clients have got stop losses in at the moment because we don't know whether these Brexit talks are going to break down. If Boris walks, I'll save that for later. But essentially, we could have bad news at any moment, and so the pound could be 5 or 6% lower than where it is in the coming days, potentially. So a lot of our clients are putting stop losses in as a safety net to protect them over this period.
It looks like the stop loss is a good segue to the market update, actually. So
potentially, absolutely. Should I talk about that now?
Yeah, let's touch on that. Yeah. So what's going on in the UK?
So today we've got. Sorry.
And not only in the UK but also globally.
That's
going to be
a talk about COVID. I mean, but yeah. So I mean, today we've got kind of the penultimate day before. So our Prime Minister Boris Johnson said to the EU. So we've got this Brexit negotiation that's been rumbling on since 2016. Pound has broadly, taken a step back. The pound has dipped considerably since that referendum, and that is because of the uncertainty that is now surrounds the UK and our relationship with our largest trading partner, the EU. So the pound's down. Financial markets hate uncertainty. Pound is down. So Boris has basically said after 4 years of talks, he won the election back in the last year on the back of get Brexit done. And he has given the EU an ultimatum, effectively, to say, look, if we haven't got clear sight of an agreement by the end of, before the EU summit, which starts tomorrow morning, then he's going to walk away from talks. And broadly speaking, if we leave the EU with no deal, we would expect the pound to dip further because there's more uncertainty. We don't know, again, what our relationship's going to be like, how we're going to perform without a trade good deal of any type with the EU, WTO. And if there is a deal, we would expect the pound to rally quite significantly because we know what our relationship's going to be like. That uncertainty goes away. So we expect the pound to rise. So that's kind of the predicament that we're in at the moment. And we've got to the day before the deadline, and there has been no commitment from either side. We've got reports this morning that the EU or the EU negotiating team are going to tell the leaders at the summit tomorrow that there's not been significant progress. So the odds of no deal are racking up. Pound's taken a bit of a dip into this morning. There's going to be a call later between Boris Johnson and the governor of the EU Commission. We'll see what happens. So it's going to be a really big day. So as I say, a lot of our clients are using stop losses at the moment and keeping their fingers for the way in. They're hoping that Boris is going to walk away, but if they're looking on the way back out, then they're hoping that a deal is going to be reached. I think, and by the time this goes out, as we discussed a minute ago, I could be wildly wrong, but I personally think there will be an agreement to extend this for another couple of months, and the pound will find a little bit of support over the near term. And I think that ultimately there will be a Brexit deal last minute.
Right.
I mean, don't quote me on that, but that's what I think. I think it will go to the wire, but I think there'll be a deal. So I think that the pound will be quite considerably stronger into 2021.
So we have this privilege that we haven't. So the day we're not posting the episode today as we speak, so you can always take it away, right? So we can, we can take it down.
I'll retract all my statements. That's it.
So but
no, I mean it does highlight the reality of the currency world, though, in that things can change so very quickly, and it really is a day by day thing. Again, linking to COVID, we're all bored of talking about COVID and all the rest of it, but it's having such a huge impact on currency markets. And again, we just can't predict what the numbers are going to be tomorrow or the reaction from the governments, internationally, what they're going to be. Again, on that one, broadly speaking, nationwide lockdowns are seen as really bad for the domestic currency value because they impact productivity and all the rest of it. So nationwide lockdowns would be devastating for the local currency. Again, that's something that's completely separate from Brexit, but a big mover. And the reality is that these things change day by day and minute by minute. And unless you're sitting here, again, it's the value that we can add, right? We can sit here and watch this for our clients and react proactively. So
that's another benefit of having using or working with a currency broker, because and
I don't, but
you know what you do based on the data you have, right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And if I know that you're looking at something, as I've got a number of orders from clients at the moment, if I know that people are looking to do something one way or the other, one particular currency pair, I can be looking at the charts, monitoring things daily, updating, and that's where we add value.
Lovely. All right. So thank you for the update. So I know you work with Lighthouse, right? So it's a sort of a relatively new company, but what do you work with, and how do you serve customers?
So, as you know, Lucas, I've been around for a while and worked for previous companies in the city and whatnot. But yeah, we myself and a colleague from my old company started this Lighthouse FX in 2018, middle of 2018. So yeah, we are relatively young. But what we did, so we noticed that there was like a move toward these online technology kind of TransferWises platform providers that were offering really, really cheap rates. But very little in the way of guidance, but really fast settlement and stuff like that. So what we did in 2018, we partnered with some really big fintech firms to provide a lot of our infrastructure. So essentially, companies backed by Visa and Google Ventures and people like that. So we basically combined the kind of new age technology. So we've got the instant settlement, the multi-currency accounts, virtual IBANs, and some really interesting stuff that I shouldn't really be talking about because it's coming. Okay. But essentially, I'm going to shortly be able to do multi-currency accounts in my client's name. So effectively, so investors from, I don't know, Sweden, Eurozone, America, whoever, can pay in their local currency to a bank account named in my client's name. Shouldn't be talking about it because it's not live yet, but I'm really excited about it. Yeah, no, it's a good thing. Yeah, I know. It's a good thing. But so we've got all of that new technology, online platforms, everything like that. But we combine it with this kind of old school approach, the kind of traditional broker, what's going on, blah, 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 everything we've discussed so far. So we kind of combine those two things. And, if people want to work online only, they've got the option there, but I think you're missing the point. But so that's kind of where we are, and excited times ahead.
Absolutely, thank you. So how if people were get in touch with you, what is the easiest way to reach out?
Yeah, well, reach out, phone, email, speak to you. However, really, I'm available. Go and visit the website lighthousefx.co.uk. Check us out, and all the contact details are on there. And keen to speak.
Obviously, we will also post links to your website and contact details somewhere. Well, depending on whether you're listening or watching, we have people on YouTube and on other podcast platforms. So we're all over the place. All right. So thank you very much. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, everyone, for listening and for watching. And we're looking forward to next episode. I'll tell a bit more about what's coming shortly. Thank you very much. Thank you, Nick.
Thanks, all.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. I think it was a very insightful episode. It was quite short, right? But I think it was plenty of insights you got from this one. Next episode will be a fantastic one. That's one of the episodes we've been waiting for a very long time, and we're super excited to introduce you the guest. Before I do that, I just make sure that you subscribe to our channel. So if you haven't done it yet, click the subscribe button and hit the notification button in YouTube if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening us on other platforms like iTunes, Spotify, just make sure you subscribe to our channel to get notifications about coming episodes. Our episodes are live every Tuesday. So next week we're gonna guest Judy Robinet. It's a fantastic person as a human, but also Judy is one of the most connected people we met. And Judy has actually, she works with prime ministers. She's been to the White House. She's been to the Buckingham Palace. She is very, very well connected. She knows Mark Cuban. As you probably know, Mark Cuban from Shark Tank. And Judy will help us understand how to network like a pro. Also, how to raise finance for our deals. Because if you have such a fantastic network, obviously rising finance becomes super easy, right? But we need to get there, and Judy will help us understand, and she'll help show us how to network like a pro in order to become very, very well connected and very, very influential as well. So I hope you're going to be with us next week. Judy Robinet is our guest. See you next week. Goodbye.